all of my friends that will never step inside of an Islamic service, I tell you, when I have an opportunity to speak to you before I speak to my community, I always want to do that and afford you the opportunity to dispel some myths, myopic thinking, and some misconceptions. What I'll be talking about today is the worst sin in the world is not being able to think for yourself. The Quran says, "Is the man who thinks and the man who doesn't, are they alike?" The Quran says, by no means the man that does not think is like an animal or even less. You know, in Islam, thinking is a requirement. It's an obligation. It's farida, right? The first words revealed in the Quran was Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of your Lord. Khalaqal insana min alaka. We created man from out of a congealed blood, which means that you were something at one time not even worth mentioning. And then God says, Alladhi allama bil qalam. Then he taught you. Allama al insana ma lam ya'la. Then he taught you with the pen what you knew not. He is given a direct commandment here to learn. He is given a direct commandment here to read. Everything in your life deals with reading. Everything in your life with being competent or being a human being deals with learning. I don't care if it's your job. I don't care if it's your marriage. I don't care if it's your children. You should always try to read and educate yourself so you can be better. The first requirement for a human being to even be a man or a woman is to be educated. I'm going to say that again because I don't want you to miss that. The first requirement to even be a man or a woman is to be educated. The Quran says, if you had followed the guidance, I would have raised you to the highest of the high. But if you don't follow the guidance, I will reduce you to the lowest of the low. God is saying here that education is mandatory. If you want to go far in life, if you want to progress in life, if you want to have goals in life, you have to be educated. You have to read. You have to study. You have to understand the world around you, not just these books that we quote and don't follow, but the world around you is called a universe. It is the root word of university. It means that it is a place where you have to learn. The worst sin in the universe are those people who don't really understand that learning is essential. You know, it's interesting. When I talk to the Muslims and when I talk to human beings, I always bring them to this verse in the Quran. It says, on the day of judgment, you're going to stand before God and you're going to say, God, our scholars and our great men led us astray. And God is going to say to you, double the punishment for you because you didn't use your brain. You see, these people like us with PhDs and doctorates of ministry and all of these lofty titles, it doesn't mean anything. We are also searching for guidance ourselves. So don't be led astray by a mere man. Make them give you their burhan, their proof. And then you decide what's best for yourself because you are a thinking human being. You are active participant in this thing that we call faith. If you are not an active participant, if you're not studying, you're not learning, you're not seeking to guide yourself by your reasoning on what God says, you're already destined to hell. We're not talking about downing you. We're not talking about debasing you, but you're creating a hell for yourself because you're dependent on other people's knowledge to guide you. You're dependent on other people's biases to guide you. You're dependent on other people's limitations to guide you. And then, like God says on the day of judgment, you're going to be angry at them. But God is going to be angry at you because he said, double the punishment for you because you allowed yourself to be led astray. You see, this thing that we call thinking, this thing that we call knowledge, this thing that God has given you to guide yourself, free will to think for yourself, free will to reason based upon your understanding, your knowledge, your toil, your struggle is real. I've seen so many people be led astray. I've seen so many people give their lives to unworthy causes. I've seen so many people give their lives to cults. I've seen so many people go bankrupt, giving their lives to people, giving their money, their hard-earned money to people who don't deserve it. Because you're blind following. You like the external of being religious. You like the external of letting people saying that you're a good man, you're a good woman. This is not enough. I don't smoke, I don't drink. I don't do this, I don't do that. Well, you're good, but what are you good for? Most people who are just good for not smoking, good for not drinking, they're good for nothing. You can't count on them because they don't have the knowledge to support their faith, so they are weak. They don't have the knowledge to support their understanding, so they are weak. They don't have the knowledge to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, so they are weak when it comes in the face of danger, when it comes to standing up for the community, when it comes to standing up even for their own families. They don't have the knowledge to support it. The worst sin in the world is not being able to think for yourself. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of your Lord. I just wanted to give this message, quick message, to my friends that will never step in a mosque. And I'm okay with that. Because religion is not in a building. Religion is not in a book. Religion is your very essence of who you are. God is bigger than a building. God is bigger than this book. God sits here in your thinking. Because it's most people who go to these buildings when they're in trouble. Where can they find God? Oh, I'm done. I'm going to teach my people. But I want to say one thing before I teach my people. This word kafir, I was asked this at the New Mexico Convention. He said, what does kafir mean? I said, yes, it means disbeliever. Yes, it means infidel. I say, but it also means a person who has not fulfilled their potential. I want you to hear something. It also means a person who is covering the truth. Yes, it means infidel. Yes, it means disbeliever. But it also means a person who is covering the truth and a person who has not fulfilled their potential. So any smart person, any person that uses their brain will never call another person a disbeliever if they have not been taught right, if they have not been guided right, because all of us are disbelievers of some kind because we have not fulfilled our potential. We have been covering what God has given us. Oh, I hope you learned something today. Not being able to think is the worst sin in the universe. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you.